Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. Today it's the Mailbag episode of the show like we do every week. We got some listener questions that will try to help you out for the upcoming week, for week 9. Hopefully some of you are still having some good seasons here. You're in the running. If you're not, maybe you're in a keeper league and you're looking already for next year to load up on keepers. Me and Jeff have done that in our main league. That league, you really have to plan. It's not dynasty, but in some regards, you treat it like it. You know, you try to get some keepers and you try to get some stuff. We're doing that, but making runs in others. And Scott Fishbowl's going well yet, so can't wait for the playoffs starting that soon. So we're rolling along there, but got the questions. We didn't lose it. Did we lose this past week?
No, I don't know. No, 2 weeks ago, I think we did.
Okay.
No, I was just laughing because I was like, we need the playoffs to start before injuries continue.
I know, right? Yeah, that's for sure. All right, let's start this off. We got couple Instagram questions, couple Discord questions. Bready Spaghetti, always reliable with the questions here. This is a non-PPR for week 9. It's Josh Palmer or Alan Lazard. So Lazard he was banged up a little bit. I don't know his status this week. Let me see. Is he gonna be good? He did practice today. So that's a good sign. But you know what? No matter what, I think I'm actually gonna go Josh Palmer because there's no Mike Williams there. Keenan Allen has been not quite right yet. And he had missed practice the other day. Let me see what his status was today. See if he actually made it back. He has another setback with a hamstring injury, it looks like. This news just came out a couple hours ago that I'm seeing. Yeah, he said he had a setback with his injured hamstring while running during a training session last week, and he didn't practice Wednesday. So, yeah, Josh Palmer, he's going to have a big opportunity for sure. Josh Palmer always. There's not even a question. So, go Josh Palmer. Brother Coffee Bean, who are you starting at tight end? Will Dissly, Mike Gesicki. Will Dissly, Mike Gesicki. It's going to be Gesicki for me.
Yeah, I like him better.
Yep. So he says, I acquired Khalil Herbert and Travis Etienne. Well, there you go, man. I like it. And I like Herbert. I like the way Herbert's coming on. I really do. So I think that's
we talked about him last show too, about the changing of the guard. And I really do think that is occurring in Chicago.
That's awesome, man. I think and you also acquired AJ Brown.
Jesus, what the hell did you give up?
Good job, man.
I was going to say, Etienne and AJ Brown alone is a huge name. Etienne is coming on. He's the only guy in town. Herbert, that can be a sneaky pick, but what did you have to give up?
Well, he just says, I have a new QB2 in Josh Allen. Man. I think he's in a 2 QB league, but what are you doing, man? You're fleecing these people, it looks like.
Yeah, how's that work?
He said, who should I keep in you? Man, I don't need to tell you what to do here. He says, do I need to hold on to Hunter Renfrow? Essentially was asking, or could it be a trade? No, you don't. You just did some good moves there, man. Let us know what the rest of your team. I know I've seen you're over on Discord as well. Jump on the Discord. Let us know what your teams are, what your team is now. I mean, you look like you made some really good moves. Get some of those players.
How the hell did you get? Yeah. I mean, that first trade is great. And then how did you just all of a sudden get Josh Allen? Also, Hunter Renfrow, I had him in one of my other leagues. Yeah, and my team is not as strong as that one, and I still was able. I was like, I'm dropping him. I'm trying to get someone else. There's not a lot there in Vegas right now, and he's not a touchdown threat. So if he gets back on track, great. But he's always the second, third wide receiver if he's getting a lot of receptions, and right now it's not happening. So don't feel bad. You can drop him.
Adam Frederick had a question. This was a couple days ago, so we'll see. Hopefully, he still has the opportunity to do this. But he said, "Would you trade Mostert for Olave straight up?" Yeah, all day. I love Olave.
Also, this is a good question though, because Dolphins just traded for Jeff Wilson.
And they traded away Chase Edmonds.
Yeah. So what do you think that does to Mostert though? He probably gets first crack.
Yeah, I think it's a similar role. Jeff Wilson's a solid player though.
Yeah, he feels I like him better than Edmonds. So I do wonder if it will cut into Mostert, and he's always such a health risk that I do think that trading him is.
I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm curious to see it. I don't really have an opinion yet on how it's going to play out here. I dropped Jeff Wilson in a couple leagues, and then this happens, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. I don't really know how it's going to play out, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm interested. A couple other trades. We have a couple. Well, let's see. We have a couple Discord questions, but some of the other trades. Chase Claypool went to the Bears. So
you're talking about actual trades.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Actual trades.
Chase
Claypool to the Bears.
I actually do want to talk about this one because first of all, I think it's a good move by the Bears. And I know I talked to some Bears fans and they were kind of wondering if this was too much to pay for him. But you're
second rounder, I think, but whatever.
Second rounder. You know exactly what you're getting though. And I don't think you can do better in the second round. I'd rather take the sure bet of a young, big wide receiver who looked really good when he had a quarterback throwing to him. He has all the tools. But what I do love about that is for the first half of this year, I really thought, and pretty much up until 2 weeks ago, I thought they were hanging Justin Fields out to dry. I was like, this is the worst way to get a young quarterback NFL ready. We've seen it happen many, many times. And Derek Carr for the Houston Texans is a perfect example way back in the day. But David Carr? Yeah. David Carr. David Carr. Sorry. Obviously Carr's brother. But David Carr, he just got annihilated because they had no one guarding him. He's supposed to be the franchise quarterback. And it felt like the Bears were going to do the same thing. They can't block for the guy. They didn't give him the ability to roll out, run, use his natural talent. But finally they're getting smart, which it took them way too long, but congratulations, you did it late. And he's looked really solid the last couple outings. And with that running ability, with them giving him Chase Claypool, who will be immediately helpful to him. Maybe it will even help free up Mooney a little bit because he's been blanketed. He hasn't been able to do as much. All of a sudden, and with the emergence of Herbert as well, who gives them a second running back option who might be a little more dynamic, I feel like Justin Fields this second half of the year can be a streaming quarterback. And this really solidifies it for me because he was making good decisions the last 2 weeks and they're getting him out and running. And Chase Claypool can give him a big down the field body or in the red zone. So I'm good for them. I thought this was a slam dunk and it does really make me feel about Justin Fields. And if you have Claypool, all of a sudden you have renewed, even though they're not a great team, Chicago, all of a sudden he's out of that cluster F that was Pittsburgh's wide receivers with a young quarterback. So
for sure,
good win all the way around.
I like Fields. I'm actually streaming him in a couple leagues this week. So see how it plays out. Other trades, Hawkinson went to the Vikings. Didn't see it coming, but
no, I'm glad. I think it was a solid trade for both teams.
Lions, I think, got a good return, and the Vikings are trying to win right now. And Hawkinson, I know he's talented. He showed it earlier this year. He had that massive game. I'm curious how they're going to use him if they're really going to target him a lot. He could be really good here. Be interesting.
I don't think it hurts his fantasy value.
No.
I think if anything, it's kind of the same. But
there was Naheem Hines got traded to the Bills, so that's interesting.
That's a weird one.
Not how they're going to use it. They traded Zach Moss to the Colts. Zach Moss, whatever. But Hines, it'll be interesting to see how they use him there. And then, this isn't fantasy relevant for this year, but Calvin Ridley got traded to Jacksonville. So that'll be interesting.
I don't know what I saw that, but what did they actually give up?
You know what? I saw the trade too, and I didn't, because it wasn't this year relevant. I didn't see the return.
Yeah, I didn't look into it as much.
Because
really interesting pick. I mean, if he can. If he's healthy again, physically and mentally.
The return is 2 future draft picks that can range from a maximum of a 2023 fifth rounder and a 2024 second rounder. So it could be a 2023 fifth and 2024 second.
It ranges too, so it's probably all depending on either snap count or how well he does. So that's another great one. And I'm sure Atlanta wants to get out underneath everything that it's just too much baggage. But good for them because when he was on, he was really, really good. So I'm hoping that he comes back strong.
Yep. Okay. Another question. This is from Discord. Wyland says, would you have Terrace Marshall or Van Jefferson on your, this isn't to start, this is just on your roster.
Sure.
For the rest of your Terrace Marshall or Van Jefferson. And I said Terrace Marshall because last game, he just showed a little something, and I'm more curious than that. I think I know more about Van Jefferson. I guess part of it is Cooper Kupp, the injury, but I'm not too worried about that. I think Terrace Marshall, just interested. I'm not that interested in Van Jefferson, to be honest.
Yeah, I still like. I agree with you. I just think I just think Terrace Marshall has more to offer. I think I kind of like the athlete he is, and with the quarterback situation being up in the air and DJ Moore getting a few more looks, it does feel like they're airing it out. I think it might open the door for him. I don't have confidence in either one, but if I had to take it like a flyer on someone that comes out of nowhere, it would be Marshall over Van.
Yep. And so this next question, we just went over it, not even knowing, is from John. He says, with Chase Claypool going to Chicago, is Fields a starting quarterback? He's a streaming quarterback. Streaming for sure. He's definitely in the streaming category.
He will be for the second half of the year. His numbers might not even out to put him in the top 10 overall.
Yep.
I think in the second half of the year, he would be a back end top 10 play at times. And then if you're playing a good defense or something, then no, like don't get it twisted, but he can continue to grow. I mean, maybe he turns into a fringe play every week, but right now, yeah, he's just a streamer, but a very kind of a high end one with that running ability.
Next question for Trevor, pick 3: Dameon Pierce, Dalvin Cook, Travis Etienne, Miles Sanders.
Oh, well, Etienne and Cook are
for sure.
Yeah.
Then it becomes between Sanders and Pierce, and they're close, and it's always going to be matchup based for me between the two. They're playing each other this week.
In that case, probably go
Sanders. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm going Sanders too.
I think normally with that one, it would be matchup based, but I think I'd probably end up playing Dameon Pierce more. But that's neither here nor there. You have them both, so pick and choose. But yeah, the other two, you slot them in every single week because you don't want to miss out on them.
So another question from Nick. He says, how would you rank rookie running backs and receivers, like your top 3 of each?
Oh,
so awesome. This could be like, it doesn't say what, but I think we could actually do it 2 ways. You could do it for the rest of the season, but you could also do it long term, right? So
okay, you want to do that? Okay,
we can do both in a way because I think there's a difference.
Not so far.
No, I think there's a difference if you're doing like season long. If you're doing the rest of this season for running backs, there is one big difference. So for the rest of the season, rookie running backs, your number 1's Ken Walker, right? Like, I think my number 1's Ken Walker. My number 2's Dameon Pierce. Yeah,
I'm trying to think who else there is.
Yeah, so Dameon Pierce, and then it would become: is it Brian Robinson or is it, like Tyler Algier? But Patterson's coming back. You got like the Rashad Whites. You got the Pacheco's. You got James Cook, which he's not. Hines just took his possible role. Yeah,
I feel like we're missing someone, but I don't think. It's pretty low grade on this one. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, honestly. I think Brian Robinson is probably number 3 for me because I think he kind of has the most upside.
I'm a little worried about him though because I think Antonio Gibson's been outplaying him, but I still think Algier's been solid.
Again, he has, but he's also like in his 3rd, 4th year.
Yep. So I think that's how I'm going to look at it. Is
for the rest of the year
for this year, but for next year, let's look at next year because you throw one more name in here.
Yeah,
and it's Breece Hall. So is it Breece Hall or is it Ken Walker number 1? And I think you got to go Ken Walker.
Yeah, Ken Walker because the injury leaves it up to
Breece Hall before that all day. So
I still would take Breece Hall over Pierce though because of what we saw.
Yep, I'm with you. So I'd go Walker, Hall, Pierce for future. So what about receiver? This is actually a little more interesting. I think we both have the same number 1 for the rest of this year for sure. It's Olave, right? Yeah. For this year for sure. The rest of the year, it's Olave.
Actually, moving forward is going to be a really good. Let's finish this one, but that is going to be a really interesting one because there's a lot of like names that can be big. I think.
So for my top 3 would be Olave, Wilson, Pickens this year. Rest of this year, I think I'm going to go Pickens now that Claypool's gone.
I like that.
Because I think it would be between Drake London would probably be the next option.
I was going to say Drake London is the only one, but I'm not over the moon. Is there anyone else that has been quietly good that I'm missing?
There's been injury. Like Alec Pierce has been okay. Dotson was early, but he's hurt. Obviously, Wan'Dale Robinson hasn't really shown much dubs. He's hit or miss.
Yeah.
So I think those top for me, it's Olave.
I think you're right. I don't think we're missing anyone. Yeah.
And Pickens, but for Dynasty, This is where it's interesting. Do you believe that Olave's the best of those?
I mean, well, because he's number one here, he's the safest. I do think that he'll be in that discussion. The real wild card here is going to be Jameson Williams on the Lions. Coming back from injury, we'll probably get to see him for a handful of games, and that's it. And they'll be so he could be the the dark horse that comes out of nowhere. Obviously, for that one, I wouldn't put him over Olave. And honestly, Garrett Wilson is so up and down that it's hard not to like if Williams shows anything in those couple of games, it's going to be hard not to put him ahead of him. Just because I do think that he was the best wide receiver coming out of college.
This is a tough
the injury. Is he going to be the same player? I don't know.
I might just go Olave number 1, London number 2. And then
here's a question on that one.
Williams.
I like the London one because he's shown that he can play, but I mean, do you really think that Atlanta is going to change enough to get him any sort of?
They need to draft a quarterback this year. Or no, they don't. They got Ritter, right? We got to see what Ritter can do.
And we have to see what Ritter can do. Are they going to be a pass happy offense or a good passing offense in the next 5 years?
That's
so
the problem.
London for me is kind of like I think he's being kneecapped by the system.
It's going to be Jameson Williams changes this if he comes back and we see what he is. That's what we got to find out.
Yeah,
I think Olave, from what we've seen, just has to be number 1.
Yeah, I agree with you, Olave. And the one also is kind of like I would be okay making the argument that George Pickens might be your number 2 right now.
I guess you're right. He's there.
He's there. He's going to be in the system. Like you're getting rid of Claypool, like you said. A lot of things that you mentioned for even this year come into play because all of a sudden he gets all of that extra attention. And he looks like he's NFL ready already. So I do like him quite a bit for like, if just talking number 2, number 3. What do you think of someone like some of the names that we haven't talked about? Velus Jones, Wandale, which I know you like.
Yeah, there's some interesting guys. It's those that show a little bit, but are they going to sustain? In Jahan Dotson, we haven't talked about at all because he's hurt. He showed some stuff early. I want to see what happens when he comes back. I'm not done with Christian Watson or Sky Moore yet either. There's a lot of
and Romeo
potential.
Doubs. I mean,
I just don't know yet. We need to see more, but I think those other guys we know are probably going to be things. We know those guys. Treylon Burks has been hurt a lot too, so it's hard to say with Treylon Burks, but he is.
And I know this is a tight end, but he might as well be a wide receiver. I still love my boy Isaiah Likely. Yeah, I would throw his name in there because if Andrews ever goes down, he's going to be the effing man.
He will. All right, a couple more. So. Second question from Nick. He says, this is for you, Jeff. He says, why won't Jeff trade with me in any league? Is he trying to hold me back? Does he still hold a grudge from how I played defense on him in basketball growing up?
Yes, 100%. All of that. I didn't realize it was that, Nick. Yes. I owe him a call, a trade offer, if you will. But yeah, I know. I traded with the league asshole, if you will. So the one person everyone hates to root for, can't stand, even me. He gave me the best option. He gave me Olave as a keeper, so I went with it, and I could not hear the end of it. But and now Nick could have used some of those players, but it's getting pretty cutthroat out there.
Next question from John. He says, "How do you deal with someone who seems to have your league's number?"
And then the other guy that I'm talking about. And this is why we love to hate him.
John's he's made some good picks.
He has. He's done a very good job. He was right on the money with a lot of big names last year. He had good keepers. Can he keep it going, though? He is technically out of the playoff look right now.
Oh, it's going to be great if he misses.
It would be huge. And after I give him Christian McCaffrey.
Nick did add, though, that John is the worst dynasty manager of all time.
It is. Yeah, I know. Everyone was giving props after we, if you ever do this with your league as well, you see what they trade, if you can trade draft picks and whatnot, and then what they end up getting instead.
Yeah, that was fun.
Even with all of that, I know that John is always, he thinks, he looks at the trade and he's like, oh, I got the better deal of that. But
there were some bad ones in there for him.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like 75% of these are no. And even mine, I got Najee from him. If Najee comes back at all next year and does okay, then, once again, it'll be fine. I would have won that trade. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
Trevor had another random question. What's your favorite podcast moment? I have one.
What is
it's
that?
Still my favorite moment. It was rough for me, but it's my favorite moment. Probably.
I already know what it is.
Zeke not scoring from the 1 yard line 3 straight plays.
Yeah, that was by far watching your face. I didn't even have it on. It was like on a delay, and I could tell every single time what happened. And the third time when you were like, "Oh my God, he has it. All he needs is a touchdown. I win." And he got stuffed the third time, and you're just like, just how quiet the podcast got.
Oh my God!
All right, we'll cut off early. He's gonna murder someone.
It was terrible. Oh,
that was
man.
by far the funniest one to see live.
Oh man. Oh, Trevor, another question. What is the worst starting quarterback you've ever seen? It has to be a Lion.
Yeah, I mean, maybe? Like just in football, we've had plenty. I was gonna say, yeah, who was? Well, I mean, God,
Tim Boyle. He started a game for the Lions. He was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, what is his name that ran out of the back of the end zone?
Oh, Orlovsky.
That
he might be
about football counselor. That one cracks me up still.
You can name a million Detroit Lions, and one of them is probably right. There's been some bad ones. I mean,
and I don't hold any grudge against the guy either, but Harrington being such a huge pick, never panning out, even though he's fine. I'm trying to think. There's got. Oh, actually, no, I know for sure, without a doubt, I know my number one. Russell, Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Jamarcus Russell, which if you've never heard this story, it is hilarious. I could not believe this. It was like years and years after he was pretty much out of the league because he was such an unmotivated guy. Pretty much he threw like 60 yards from his knee and everyone fell in love with him. His draft stock went through the roof, and Vegas, or at the time, Oakland Raiders needed him. So they went out and they got him at number 1 pick overall, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so sorry for any Oakland fan reliving this because he was the biggest piece of crap as far as football goes. I don't know him personally, but like he just could not do anything, and he was lazy supposedly. And I heard a story, whether or not it'd be true, that the coaches gave him a DVD. That's what you were watching at the time. DVD of all different plays, and they said, "Hey, take a look at this. Pick out which ones you like. We'll run those. Like that's the way we're going to do this. Like, what do you like?" And they come back the next day and he's like, "Did you watch it?" And he's like, "Watched it. Loved them all. Pick whatever plays you want. I'll run them. I can do them all." And you're like, "All right." And they're like, "Are you sure though? Like, are you sure you don't want to pick a couple?" And he's like, "No, I told you. I know them. I got them all. You can do it." And they didn't, I don't even think they told him, but they were like, "We gave him a blank DVD." Just straight lying to us. He didn't even watch the DVD that the NFL coach gave it to him. And you're kind of like, immediately you're like, "Oh my God, we bought a ticket on the Titanic."
Yep, pretty much.
That's by far my favorite.
That might be the right answer then.
Can you imagine being the talent scout that was like, "We need this guy," and you didn't vet him out enough?
Oh, that's when the contracts were huge for the picks. Yeah, they're not as big anymore. Brutal. So he was set. So, but that's about it. Oh, Nick did say Nick answered the question too of his favorite podcast moments, and they are every time I say Redskins, and he says when Jeff says a guy will soak up all the touches.
You know what? No, thank you for watching.
Exactly. You've listened a few times.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, that'll do it for the mailbag, though. We'll be back with the week 9 recap. Talk to you guys next time.